feeling behind is something that is pretty universally felt across the board, regardless of whether or not you have achieved your goals yet in life. You know, at one point or another, everyone's pretty much all felt behind for some reason. But I think it's an interesting paradigm because so many people feel behind in their lives when we're all running different races. You know, if you're running the same 5K with a group of people, you can essentially fall behind the other people. But say you're running a 5K and the other person's running a marathon, or you're running the marathon and the other person's running the 5K. I think it's extremely, extremely easy to compare yourself and think, oh, they're going farther than me. But the thing that you may not see is that they're going to have a longer time. They're going to have a longer run time than you will running your 5K. So everyone's running a different race in life. And I think that's something that especially a lot of my generation struggles with specifically. So based upon the fact that everyone's running a different race, it can be very hard to compare yourself, or it should be very hard to compare yourself because we're all going after different things in life. And for some of us, it will take an extremely long time to reach what we define as success. Whereas for others, they may reach that in a short period of time, but they might have lower goals than you. They might not have the same vision for what you want your future to look like. I think that's something that I've really started to realize recently, and I think it's something that is commonly misunderstood in just the world today generally, especially as the rise of 9-to-5 jobs and the Industrial Revolution came about. It was extremely easy to compare yourself to those other people, but the thing that a lot of people don't understand is you truly are running a different race. You have a different life. No one's life is the exact same, even if it's very similar. It's all going to be unique in some way or another. We're all going to have different experiences that lead us to where we are today. So it can be extremely unhealthy to think that you're behind because, you know, it can really affect your mental, like extremely, extremely bad. And I think that's something that, you know, we don't emphasize enough. We don't think about it enough. And we really need to, because it's so unhealthy to constantly compare yourself and constantly be in a state of anxiety when comparing yourself to others. So I just wanted to essentially point that out and say that you might be feeling like you're behind, but you might be running a different race. You might have a different definition of success, whether that be lower standards or higher standards. I think it should be higher standards, but then the other person might have, you know, they might have very low standards. You might have very high standards for what you consider success. So don't discount or compare yourself to a race that you're not running, because that's not your life. That's not who you are. And those unique experiences and things that make us who we are the things that will impact others' lives more than you'll ever believe. It's those unique traits, it's those unique features of yourself that will help you to impact other lives in a unique and genuine and helpful way. Because there could be a million people out there that are all the exact same, telling them the same advice, but all it takes is that one person to go out there and say that it's okay for them to have those unique experiences, to act uniquely and not compare themselves. So pretty much that's what I wanted to make the point of. But overall, I would say just try your best to not be hard on yourself, because that's an extremely easy thing to do. It's extremely easy to be more negative than it is positive. And that's something that, you know, it's so easy to fall into the trap of being negative all the time, because it does take less energy to do that than it does to be positive. But it's something we have to be conscious of. And the more you make a conscious effort of it, the more it will feed into your subconscious, and the more that will influence the person that you are to become. The more it'll start to influence who you are as a person instead of just a conscious thought that you have to be positive. It'll really start to influence your subconscious more. It'll come into your daily life more, and you won't have to think about it quite as much as you do right off the bat. So, quick point I wanted to make, but hopefully it can help somebody. So, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.